Hi, I'm Jaydeep. Guten Tag. I'm the Chief Executive of Calcutta Rescue, and I'll tell you a little bit about our water program. Our water program can be divided into two parts. The first part is improving access to clean drinking water in urban slum communities in Kolkata. And the second part is actually removing arsenic, which is a poisonous element found in the groundwater in mainly rural Bengal, which can lead to poisoning of the body, and lead to cancer of the skin and even impair the central nervous system. Regarding improving access to clean drinking water, you and I would probably in our homes walk from our sitting room into our kitchen or our bathroom and take a drink of water or wash our hands. For many of our slum residents, that's absolutely not possible. So instead of doing that, imagine you have to collect 3 or 4 empty buckets from your house, and you walk out of your house and you walk down the road for 15 to 20 minutes to a central point where there's a running tap. And now imagine that there's 20 or 30 other, mainly women, waiting there as well. So you wait patiently in line for 10, 15 minutes until your turn comes and you fill up your 3 buckets. Then you carry those very heavy buckets back to your home for another 15 minutes. A process which could take up to an hour. You use that water then for drinking, but the amount of water that you may have collected that day will not be sufficient for washing. So you wash perhaps in dirty well water or in a canal. Or you may even wash your vegetables with dirty water because the water that you've collected is only sufficient for the family for drinking. And you may choose to want to go back to that tap later on in the day, but at that point in the day, that tap may have been turned off. So you may not be able to go back and collect water again for the rest of the day. So for many of our slum residents, the water is only available for 7 to 8 hours every day. It's not even available for 24 hours. And this affects people in many ways. I mean, it wasn't for our arsenic removal filters in rural Bengal, the health of the communities would be severely impaired. And many of them would have contracted cancer had it not been for the arsenic removal filters. It affects, in the urban communities, there's an opportunity cost of having to travel and spend an hour collecting water. Time which could be spent earning money is spent collecting water. And in education, for our kids who attend our education centres, it affects them also. I remember speaking to a girl last year, Sangeeta, who was about to come up to her board exams, and she was coming in late to school every day for a period of time. Her mum was unwell, and the duty or the responsibility of collecting water for the household had fallen on her shoulders, and she was coming late to school every day because she was busy collecting water. Calcutta Rescue is currently catering to around 2,000 families in rural West Bengal, where we have 12 filters across 12 villages. And in urban Kolkata, we've installed clean drinking water in 1 slum, and we will be installing it across 2 different slums in the coming year. It costs around just over 2,000 euros to install one of these bore wells for improving access to clean drinking water, and that includes not just the bore well, but the taps and extending those taps across the slum community so people have quicker access. Because of the COVID pandemic, we're also installing a lot of hand washing stations in some of these slum communities. Because if you can imagine again that if you want to wash your hands, you need to wash your hands with clean drinking water. But if the water that you're collecting in the morning is only sufficient for drinking, you don't have enough water to wash your hands with. Therefore, we are improving the distribution of water in some of these slum communities, so installing hand washing stations at various points in the slum community so they have greater access and a quicker access to washing their hands. It costs very little to maintain some of these filters and the pumps, less than 20 euros per month. And so the cost is, in terms of installation and in terms of maintenance, is really minimal, but the impact is absolutely amazing. Some of the misconceptions about donors in the West about donating to an organization like Calcutta Rescue I think the most important thing, and it's true of our relationships with our service users, our beneficiaries, and it's also true of our relationships with our donors and people that give us money. We as an organization have to invest in those relationships over the long term to build trust. Everything is built upon trust, and that trust leads to good faith. And in particularly India, where I know charities don't necessarily have a good reputation, but we are here to build long-term relationships, not just with our service users, who are beneficiaries, but with our donors. And I hope over the longer term that people will see that our intent is right, and that trust is developed. Another misconception, I think, is that India is now a booming country with a booming economy and global companies with lots of billionaires, and all of that is true. But I think it takes time for a country, a relatively young country, post-independence in that sense. We have a great ancient civilization, but in terms of post-independence, it is taking a while for that level of philanthropy to develop in the mindset of people. And it is happening. At the same time, we have a huge booming population. And so for the government and the philanthropic sector and the business community to keep up with the level of need amongst some slum areas and rural areas is insufficient. And so organizations like ours have to play its role. In terms of the spirit of Calcutta Rescue, I think the spirit of the gentleman behind me, Dr. Jack, is really strong. I'm incredibly proud of the way we have reacted to the pandemic. Our staff have put their own lives at risk at a time in the beginning of the pandemic when we really didn't know the extent of and the severity of it. And the courage that we showed at that time, and not cavalier courage, calculated, putting safety first, and then going out and meeting our beneficiaries, it was a measured but courageous effort through the last 12 months or so. So I'm incredibly proud of the team, and the fighting spirit of Dr. Jack is amongst this team. It's part of their DNA, and I'm incredibly proud to lead them, and to be their colleague. So I think the spirit is strong, and really riding high. One of my colleagues said to me in the middle of the pandemic that despite feeling fearful about his safety on occasions, and he was never pushed into doing things, but volunteered to help at the height of the pandemic, said to me that he'd never had so much peace of mind in conducting his professional work than he had during these last 12 months. So what we say in Bangla is Mone Shanti, peace of mind, that you feel peace that what you're doing is helping, and that gives you real peace, not just peace of mind, but peace. And so that stays with me, and that stays with all of us at Calcutta Rescue. So thank you to all of you. Dankeschön. We're very proud of our relationship and very happy with our relationship with ALBISHAUS. And I hope many of you can visit us, and I hope we can see each other at some point when this whole pandemic is over.